you learn through experience. And so what I would encourage you to do is to always observe your sessions and build your systems for working with clients through experience in terms of what works and what doesn't work. So what I mean by that is that your template for hosting a session with a client should always be evolving, refining, developing. It shouldn't be set in stone. That's really, really key. And part of that is that, look, up front, you are going to make mistakes. That's all part and parcel. And for those that really make a load of mistakes, I would actually say, lucky you. Because if you persevere, you are going to learn fast. And if you refine based on every one of those challenges, you're going to have one hell of a practice in time. So I'd really encourage that to you. So I'd say that trust that this will grow, that your ability to deliver for your clients and your process in which you ensure that it is going to grow in time and in tune with your business's growth. So session by session, client by client, you are going to get better working with them. But I want to share some tools that I use and that are of real value to me, and that I hope, hopefully you can piggyback off my experience and really speed up your journey in this process. So the first thing is, the very first few calls that I have with clients, I let them know that I'm here for them, that I'm not there to judge, I'm there to support, I'm there to listen, and I'm there to help them in their pursuit of their best self. And I say that because ultimately speaking, the quicker a client can be honest and vulnerable with you, the more you can help them. If somebody is performing in front of you and telling lies, the fact is you're not dealing with the truth. You're not actually helping them. You're just letting them carry on the same mess that they've been up to for so long. You want to really set things off on a different chord, and the way to do that is through trust, through safety, through security. So I always like to just to reassure clients at the start of a session, just so you know why I'm here. It's not to judge, it's to listen, it's to support you in your pursuit of your best self. And after that, I like to I open up the session. So I like, once I've said that, I go, okay, so look, give me a state of the nation. How are you? And what I mean by that is, how are you? How are you in your world? How are you socially? How are you professionally? How are you mentally? How are you spiritually? What's going on for you? And when I ask that question, I don't want them to tick every one of those boxes. I just want to help them tune into a given area that's of highest priority for them and start talking. That is absolutely key. That at the start of a session, one, you reassure them that you're not meant to you're there to judge, but you're there for them to help them feel that little bit more safe and relaxed. And then you open them wide open. That, I think, is absolutely key. In the middle of a session, I like to check in. So for wherever they're talking, I like to just say, look, I'm conscious we're about halfway through our session here, and I just like to see, are you happy? Is this how you wanted to use this time, or is there something that you would like to prioritize ahead? And that is so important, because sometimes sessions can get a bit carried away with themselves, and sometimes clients have agendas that they want to talk through. I think it's really important that you check in, you make sure they're happy, and if they say, no, I did actually have a few things, but this is much more important, that's key, well done. And if not, if they're like, actually, do you know what, there are a few things that are a priority for me, that again is brilliant. It's all about, ultimately speaking, delivering for the client fulfillment. So I think that's really, really important. At the end of a session, like what happens a lot with inexperienced coaches is that they go way over time, and ultimately speaking, that's not a good thing. I would say that the quality of a coach is really down to how efficiently they can work with a client. as in like you don't want to work with a coach that's going to take you years to solve a problem. You want to work with a coach that can solve that problem in an instant. So about 10 minutes before the session's conclusion, I like to say, look, I'm conscious that this session is, we're coming up to the conclusion. We've got about 10 more minutes. And I'd love to check in with you with regards to what you feel you've taken the most impact from on this call. What's brought you the most value? And this is an interesting enough tool. Oftentimes people have breakthroughs without even recognizing it. And giving someone a bit of time to think about what did they actually get the most value from can be the difference between somebody leaving a session wondering what was that time all about, and somebody leaving going, that was a breakthrough, that was a life-changing conversation. So I think that's a really important question to ask. And it's also for you. If you can tune into where your clients get the most value from you, it will dramatically shape your work. Sometimes we can be forgiven for thinking that a certain part of our work is our greatest asset, when in actual fact it's not. And oftentimes people discredit or take for granted their highest areas of value. That happens time and time again, that whatever people are best at, they value least for some bizarre reason. So it's a really nice thing to ask a client, look, where did you take the most value from? You'd be amazed what they come back with, and that can be really filling. After a session, I keep a file on every client, and I like to literally draw up the notes on that session. And that is as much, for me to stay focused and grounded into a client, but also for me to register the kind of the work that I'm doing with people. And it can be really helpful as you progress in your business to see the patterns of work that you're doing with all clients. It can be really good of, what am I going to build my next course on? Well, let's look at the patterns. But in the initial instant, I think it's really important to draw up the notes. And I say it for yourself, as I said, to know what the work you're doing. But I actually like to send it in an email after the sessions to my clients. So I'll almost immediately after a session, I'll write them an email. I'll congratulate them on the session. I'll let them know, I'll commend them for opening up, for being brave, for stepping into this work. And I'll just say, look, I'd love to just remind you of the topics we covered in this session, because we covered a lot. And I bullet point them out. And I think that is hugely valuable, again, because some of this work can be quite subtle. It can be a little difference of thought that sets off a whole chain reaction of change. And oftentimes you can forget what was the catalyst that set that off in motion. And I think it's really, really important that you help your clients recognize how powerful the work is. At the end of that email, I like to ask them a question. I like to ask them, look, I'd love your feedback on this session. Was there anything? It's kind of like, that last question, what was most powerful for you? You might say, look, what did you like about the session? Is there any feedback you'd have? Anything you'd like, to put more attention on next week? Or any areas that you really liked? The more feedback you can get from your clients, the more you can learn, the more you can grow yourself personally, but also refine your work in real time to better complement the client. And again, for me, this session is all about customer fulfillment. It is leaving your clients with breakthroughs